Welcome to the American Lean Podcast. This is episode 13. Today we want to talk about using cycle counting to improve your inventory accuracy. Again, we've heard the saying, before you can increase your capability, you have to increase your stability. And having an accurate inventory is one of the key issues becoming more stable. So we'll get into the topic right after the intro.
Welcome to the American Lean Podcast, where we cover 5 topics in 5 days in about 5 minutes. The only place in the world where you can get daily lean coaching. Your host is Tom Reed, and he shares his 30 years of experience and covers leadership, culture, entrepreneurship, lean methodologies, Industry 4.0, and interviews special guests on their lean journey. We're glad you're here, so let's go.
Welcome in to the American Lean Podcast. And today, I want to talk about using cycle counting to improve inventory accuracy. If you have had an opportunity to read my book, The Lean Game Plan, you know that I talk about having the lean basics in place. Inventory accuracy, bill of material accuracy, and 6S before getting more sophisticated. And today I want to talk about inventory accuracy. I'm sure we've all run into the situation, usually at month end, when you're working extremely hard to ship product and you run out of parts. How'd this happen, you think to yourself? The computer said we have plenty on hand when MRP ran. It didn't show up on the PO suggestion list or the shortage list, and I know it wasn't hung up in receiving inspection or MRB or any of the other places where it could get held up. The problem is you just didn't have enough on hand. Your inventory wasn't as accurate as you thought it was. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if it's a $1,000 part or a 5-cent part. If we don't have it, we can't complete the order. Another area where inventory accuracy becomes an issue is in the twice annual physical inventory activities that many companies conduct. Often these are conducted during the summer and near year's end when everybody is busy with family activities. It always seems as though physical inventory activity comes at the worst possible time. So let's talk about a way to improve your inventory accuracy that's a lot less painful. And what I want to talk about is something called cycle counting. Cycle counting involves counting some of your inventory every day. Now, while that may sound like a lot of activity, over time, your inventory accuracy will improve and the amount of time you spend cycle counting will be reduced because the accuracy has increased. But how do we start? The first step in developing a cycle counting strategy is to divide your inventory into A, B, and C items. Now, typically, this is done based upon the dollar value of the inventory items. The inventory items that make up 80% of your inventory become A items. And typically, you want to count A items once a month. You can also count items that have expiration dates in that list as well. Items that make up the next 15% in dollar value will be your B items. Notice between the A and B items, we are now covering the top 95% of our inventory value. B items typically get counted on a quarterly basis. That means that we'll cycle through the B items about once every 3 months. Finally, the remaining 5% of the inventory value items are C items. And then C items we typically only count once a year, maybe twice a year, depending upon your industry. Realistically, these are things like nuts, bolts, and other hardware items. Because the movement of these items is frequent and the dollar value very small, you may want to turn those items over to a vendor stocking program where your supplier manages the inventory on a consignment basis. But that's up to you. Usually within your ERP system, there's an inventory code that allows you to define whether an item is an A, B, or a C item. Your warehouse team members can print out a report which tells them what items to count daily. Remember, we're counting something every day, so that list will have a certain number of A items, a certain number of B items, and a certain number of C items they want to count on a daily basis. Realistically, it shouldn't take more than about a half an hour, depending upon the size of your warehouse, to count those items and update the inventory records. So initially, you may not have great inventory accuracy, but as you continue the process, your accuracy improves because you're taking inventory on a more frequent basis. And this will help you become more stable. Before we can increase our capability, we got to increase our stability. And having an accurate inventory is one of the things that's important for stability. Hope you enjoyed our time today in this added value. Now remember, consuming information is great, but I want you to take this information to make yourself and your company a little bit better today. This podcast is for you, so if there are topics that you would like me to cover, or if you'd like to share your company's lean journey, please contact me at tom@americanlean.com. Until tomorrow, have a great one.
Thank you for joining joining us today. As always, we are honored to serve you, and we hope that you and your company are getting a little bit better every day. Please subscribe, rate, and review this podcast and share it with others in the lean and business community. If you'd like to turbocharge your lean efforts, please visit us at AmericanLean.com.